Because
Who's doing that? That's weird.
I like these. I like these mics.
are we live?
Yeah. How'd you
They-
guys
Yeah, I love ASMR.
how did you guys enjoy your Memorial Day weekend?
Because I have been in the industry since 1997.
Mm.
I don't have days off on weekends. All holiday weekends, and evenings belong to my craft or my career.
What about the ones during the week?
I don't take any
He
days
said
off.
I took my usual Tuesday, Wednesday off.
When people are off, when
Uh-huh.
people are off, that's when I'm on.
Gotcha.
I will say that I set unrealistic expectations for myself about a year ago that I did want to start taking off bank holidays,
Stupid.
and I did pick a day in the week that I was going to take off. It's worked out pretty well for me throughout the year, but for some reason this weekend I had something really important that I had to do on Sunday. And I was like, great. I'll take Sunday off and I'll have a good time. And I guess because everyone was off on Memorial Day, I had one of the busiest Sundays of my life. I was just getting calls after calls after calls, and clients wanted to go see houses. And I felt for the first time in a long time like I was kind of like missing out on something.
Yep.
And it was because I had that like mindset that I was going to be off, which you're never off on the holiday weekend. Just should have known better. But set myself up very later.
How was your time off, Flor?
Yeah, where were you this weekend?
Yeah.
I was working.
At Tiffany's and
Yes, I actually was closing a deal while I was eating breakfast there.
where you were eating breakfast at Tiffany's, you were closing the deal.
I was closing a deal here in Liberty.
Cool.
So no, but I think my friend got a little like bothered at some point because like everyone was blowing me off, like client. I'm not there, so I learned a big lesson that never to take vacations or something during a holiday because it's whenever it's the busiest at work.
Yeah.
Even if it's not a holiday, whenever you're taking off, that's when your clients need you the
Yep.
most. That's just that's just the way it is. But I'm glad that we finished off with you because we talked about something that you did over there that which is today's topic, which is building your network. Go ahead and kind of tell us the experience that you had over there, which was great. The conversation that we had earlier today. I think that was great, and then we'll dive into this actual few topics that I have on building your network and how important it actually is.
Yeah, I think it's while I was there, I went to like see different attractions, and one of them was the summit, which we got in like to see the sunset. We were there for like I don't know 4 or 5 hours, and it has like this really cool area where you can see the sunset and just have like finger foods, a drink or two. And I mean, there's a bunch of people in there just like mingling around. And it was a really nice experience because like everyone that was there was like super social. Like everyone was walking by us, like, saying hi, like completely strangers
In New York?
in New York. It was, yeah, I don't know if it was because I talked with different people and I heard that the people in New York, but the people from there, they were super rude.
Yeah.
But the people that was here at this time, whenever I was there, like none of them, well, everyone was from like different places of the world. Like
Oh, they were all from out of town.
yes,
Yes.
oh, yes, I made a really good connection with the girl from Japan and from a couple from Spain that they were there business wise, but they were like very interested in knowing how the culture works in here, how like business wise real estate works in here. So I was just telling Giovanni this morning that not until then I was like, okay, I guess it is very important, for a type of career to go out there and network.
Hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
not a type of person that, goes to all of this real estate like network events because I'm like, dude, I'm gonna see you and I see you like every day. Like,
Exactly.
why do I go?
And something that we were talking about, not necessarily just, it's important for you to meet other people in order to convert them into your clients using that network that way, but the fact how whenever you're moving up into a different part of real estate, right, whenever you actually want to make this like a profession, you want to be the professional, it takes a lot more than just working hard for your clients. Yes, that's important, right? Working hard for your clients is important, but that's only going to take you so far. Your network is what takes you to the next place, because now you have the other side, which is also showing you respect. And especially as a listing agent, I think that's important. And it's something that I believe me and you, and not just me and you, because we were buyer agents, right? Or we are buyer agents and converting into listing agents. But it goes back to like where we come from. I think so. Because we had the same conversation with not just one person, but 2 or 3 business owners on that side of town who think the same way.
Where do you come from?
From Baytown.
Okay.
So coming from that side of town, right, from like a blue collar background where people asking for the favor means that, oh, I got to go do something for you. And since I work a regular 9 to 5, I don't necessarily ever need a favor from you. And I think that's how we always looked at it.
Expound. I'm lost here. What do you mean?
So whenever you work like in our business, right? If somebody calls us for a favor, now I'm not talking about a client. I'm talking about somebody within the industry. Somebody within the industry, a title person, another realtor. I mean, we get those calls all the time where realtor calls us asking us for help, asking them for help right on their deal, and we're not going to get nothing out of it, and we're not even recruiting them to come here.
Yeah.
It's just somebody that we know, but we still help them. Why? Because sooner or later we might need them, or they might be the listing agent on a property that we have a buyer for, or they have a buyer for one of our properties. And then that just makes the deal smoother because we actually know each other. We work with each other before. You collected favors. In the regular 9 to 5, you don't need favors from nobody.
Sure you do. You need help. If you ever get laid off, you want somebody to give you a job. If you ever, need for them to take out tools from steal tools from work so that you can use around the household, they help each other out. When you want spools of material.
You're right, but let me give you
different.
I never asked for those.
No, but actually he's right though. But I don't want to this actually collide, right? Or this to think that one is the same as the other. The way that you in that environment is by partying with those people, not working with them.
That's true. Beer, bro, they love you in the morning.
Out with them after work, whatever it may be, and then they bring you on to the next job site, right?
Yeah, you battled.
That's our sponsor.
You battled many.
Let me see that.
Battled many demons at the 1, 2, 3.
I want to say the 1, 2, 3 is our first sponsor.
That's where
whenever the garage door is open.
So Giovanni has battled
demons there.
this ice house.
Many.
Take it easy.
Did they win?
No, he's here.
But going back to the way that you collect those favors,
You don't
versus
think
what we do
that
now.
instead of like collecting favors, those are like more like working relationships? At the end of the day, it's like
Here
we're
in real
working
estate or-
together. No, here in real estate.
Well, no, yeah, here in real estate, and I'll let you guys speak on it, right? Because y'all been in the business way longer. But what I'm starting to see now, and the reason why I'm trying to build my network within this industry, and you've always heard that I've always said on this podcast or on any of my videos, I don't necessarily like realtors. But why? Because I didn't like to go out and hang out with them and party with them. But that's different. Once I open up my mind to, okay, we can have a working relationship. That's different. I don't mind helping people. I don't want to go hang out with you and drink. I have my people that I go do that with, right? Because they get to see a side of me that I want other people to see,
And
I do that after.
Networking in general, you have to really identify what your goal is for networking. We often I think about as our career changed, right, from being realtors to whatever stage of real estate we were, networking served different purposes. As you're just starting off, networking is to build your relationships, to get your name out there and collect those, build rapport with peers in your industry, right? And as you're doing that, essentially networking will turn into actually finding business. And I think depending on what your goal is, I think you have to keep that in mind when you're networking. Are you looking to recruit new agents for us? Are you looking to build a relationship within your peers? Or 3, are we going to go to other industry networking events to find clients? So I always, and the reason why I'm bringing that up is because in our company, we have a blueprint and it includes networking in there. And I always get upset when I see new agents go to networking events with other realtors
Yeah.
when they have nothing to offer them, no deals on the table, and they're meeting people that there's no value that you're offering, very little value you're going to get from them. So it's not an even exchange. The networking needs to be handled as you're building your business in other industries, increasing your sphere of influence. And then it's up to you to influence that sphere once the people are in there, right?
Yeah.
So I think, what type of networking were you talking about, or do you consider networking?
Well, definitely right. That the reason why you don't go out to a networking event with a bunch of other realtors was because, I mean, what are you going to offer there? Everybody there technically is there for the same reason,
Yeah.
especially if they're going to like an investor seminar or something like that. All the investors there are there to look for somebody to pick up, right? Well, not pick up, but somebody to help them. And more than likely, what's going to end up happening, I said the wrong thing, right? It's a Fordorian slip. I forget how you say that word, right? But more than likely, what's going to happen is they're going to catch a new agent who doesn't know better, and they're just going to use him to run around. And they're going to have 10 or 20 of those.
Yeah.
Now, what I'm talking about networking now, the way that I see it, as in, like I said, right, collecting favors or helping other people out within the industry, I don't mind going to a networking event to meet the realtor and to build a relationship with that realtor more professionally, not necessarily by going to go hang out with them.
Yeah.
So that's what I was talking about. And my goal now, because I'm not a newer agent no more, and I'm trying to turn into a listing agent, is to make sure that I have at least working relationships with people in my area. So whenever it comes time to, they see my sign outside, like, oh, I know that realtor. I don't want to say necessarily easy to work with, but he's understandable. I know that the deal is going to go as smooth as my client as we can make it.
Yeah.
You know, he's not going to be an a-hole about it, which I know realtors that every time I see theirs, I'm like, oh man, it's going to be a headache to deal with this.
So I don't think I've ever gone to marketing events or networking events without, with the intention of recruiting real estate agents, because honestly, I don't like too many realtors that do networking and do that. I know realtors that just go to networking events specifically for free food and drinks, and that's just not the type of realtor that I really like to recruit into this company. As a matter of fact, I don't like, Vic brought up that he doesn't like our agents to go to these, or our new agents to go to these marketing events. We don't like that because, whenever realtors come into this business, they come into this business not knowing what to expect. A lot of times they have other things in their mind that they think this business is supposed to be about. And what ends up happening is that they'll go to a realtor event and they'll hit it off with another realtor. And, since there's team leaders, right, you got to remember, team leaders have no ethics, right? They're not bound by brokers, responsibilities and stuff like that. So they can actually, recruit and just, do, cold call you and make appointments with you. Florida keeps getting, recruited, a lot of my realtors get recruited, right? And so what ends up happening is that sometimes you lose agents without even getting a chance to give them the proper training or give them guidance, right? So unfortunately, right, in all these events, I have met a lot of real estate agents that either we'll kind of hit it off, like hanging out, or they like our company, but they can't wrap their mind around our concept because they've been sold another dream, right? And I've had instances where these realtors have reached out to me. I think even a few have come to the office. I know some of my agents would get mad, right? Because realtors from other brokerages would come to my office and ask me for help, and I would sit there and I'd help them. And I think it's for the same reason, right? That what you were saying, right? Like we're gonna see each other out in the battlefield, and it's beneficial because if you help him, with it's just small, take a little time out of your day to help him out, and whenever you need a favor later, you get that favor. The thing I've never been about, right, and it's something that one of our company partners here has a problem with is feeding stray realtors. It's like feeding a stray cat. You feed a stray cat, and it's going to continue to come back and come back and come back and come back. And one of my partners has a problem with not helping them develop as realtors, but just giving them a place to hang out and chill with, and then everybody thinks those realtors are a part of our company, and they're not. I'm like, no, that guy's not with us, or that girl's not with us, But yeah, I think
just I want to put the brokers on notice. If your realtor's hanging out with me, he's joining soon.
Sooner or later, and more than likely sooner. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
yeah.
Well, that's good what you just said, right?
Uh-huh.
Of course, we have realtors here that we help out, even though they're not with us.
Yeah.
And but it's important for especially new realtors, I think,
Mhm.
right? Because you get a lot of realtors who come in here and they actually do want to help. They want to help their clients. So how do you become useful and not used? Which I think that's super important for newer realtors. Not just used in the business, but used by certain clients as well. Going back to what I was talking about with like these investors who would just have realtors running around.
Yeah,
And
no.
you meet
no.
them in certain networking events by trying to build your network, trying to be useful to your network,
And-
you end up being used.
And that's what I always tell, I tell my realtors personally, and I try to tell, anybody who will listen, right? I tell them that, any seminar, any, master class, anything that has to do with investment, the first thing the person selling you a course or selling you a program will tell you is use as many realtors as you can. Get as many realtors to do the work for you. And unfortunately, realtors don't know that, And so, man, how many times have we had that where we tell realtors, hey, don't go to these wholesaling events, don't go to these to these investor events, right? And they think, oh yeah, you don't want me to get rich, you don't want me to get an investor, And so then they end up going to this investor event, they'll meet somebody. Next thing you know, it's like, oh, he's gonna buy. He has $1 million, and he has this, and he has that, and I just send him 20 houses, whatever. And then so I'll say, how many houses? Let me see the houses that you sent them. Well, I sent them all these, and then you go on there and you look, and they've contracted that property with another realtor, because they're just using you to find deals, And I always tell people, hey, don't go to these things. If you want to deal with investors, learn how to deal with investors first. As a master, and it's always to everybody, right? Master, selling homes first, right? Master dealing with clients first before you jump into investors, before you jump into commercial, before you jump into construction, to building. Even dealing with new home builders is really tough, and people just they think it's like an apartment. They think, oh, I'm just gonna go put my name down and I'm gonna get paid, and it's like, no, you have to represent your buyer. The builder is the seller. You're literally leading your client to the mouth of the lion.
And you know what? That's true what you said, right? Now let's talk about it from your own team within the house itself, within a brokerage. How can your realtors or just realtors in general, right? They get gassed up by somebody on another team. Hey, come over here, yada yada. I read this comment on Instagram. It said, "What was your worst decision in real estate? The longest you've been in real estate?" Right? I think it was off of BAM. And somebody commented, "The worst decision I ever made was joining the team, and that same week, the team leader went on vacation for a month, and I had no guidance within the company.
Yeah.
And nobody was reaching out to me." So those team leaders who are doing that, who are out there hunting for agents, whether they be new or not, and they're just recruiting people, how can an agent know the difference of a brokerage who's going to be there to help them, whether they're new or not, right? To continue to level up their business, level up the game, and not get taken advantage of.
For me, the answer is simple, right? If they are asking for something of you immediately, you probably should take caution, right? And what I mean is, our standard and our model here is different. But when you look at other brokerages, the first thing they're doing is nickel and diming you for fees, monthly fees, desk fees, technology fees, all these other things. And ultimately, they're looking to just get you on to pay those fees because that's how they make their money. We've always been very clear on what we do and that we don't need you to make money here. We don't need you to pay our dues here. We are willing to put time, money, energy, effort into people that we think are going to be successful, right? So I think everybody at this table maybe has been used once or twice before, right? But and when you're young and you're starting the business. So to answer Giovanni's question earlier, how do you go from being used to being useful? Well, that is a two-way street, right? You got to ask for things and they have to deliver those to you before you do other things for them, right? And we have a plan, and our training includes you got to ask for something, right? Your call to action. You got to ask them to do something for you. Once they prove that, then you know that they have respect for you. There's rapport there. They're willing to play the game with you. If they're just having you running around without doing anything, then everyone starts to feel like you're wasting your time. You start to feel like you're just getting used all the time. So what we do here is try to train our agents on that, try to train them on how to ask the right questions, how to do discovery questions, universal questions, how to build the rapport. And if you ask the right questions, you'll get the answers that you're looking for.
I feel like with like dealing with buyers in general, a lot of times, probably a lot of agents, can seem that or feel like they're wasting their time with the buyers because, a lot of times buyers, they're like very undecisive on what they want. So the way I personally like deal with that is like, okay, like, do you want to waste your time? Like, because I don't want to waste my time. So if you waste my time, if you waste your time, we are both wasting our time.
Mhm.
So I think a lot of times whenever you put things on their perspective, it's a lot easier to work around, all of those like objections where like you're trying to push it to, okay, it's gonna happen or it's not gonna happen. Like a lot of times, if you put it on their end, they're going to be a little bit more realistic than just you putting yourself out there, being available whenever they ask you, like at the time, everything that they ask you.
So that's a great point because I took another screenshot here of a comment that another realtor made, right? And it's about setting boundaries whenever you're building
Yeah.
your network and even
Yes.
setting boundaries with your clients. And I'm gonna go ahead and read this here because it might be relatable, especially for a lot of newer agents. It says, not setting boundaries. Well, again, the question was the worst thing that you did whenever you first became a realtor or just within being a realtor in the business, right? It says, not setting boundaries. I was constantly making myself available for every call, every text, and every email, no matter what time of day. I realized the monster I created and that things had to change. When a client got super pissed, I didn't reply at 11 p.m. because I had done it in the past.
Mhm.
So she created a monster. Yeah, this is a girl. She created a monster and over delivering to her client, making herself over available to her client. What I feel like a lot of agents, I mean, sometimes you even experienced agents, if it's a deal that's 10 times bigger than what you're used to doing, or a deal sometimes that comes from somebody that you know and you really want to take care of them. Like I made that mistake. Like I'm pretty known within the business here, within our company, for not getting my emotions involved.
Yeah.
And because this was like a friend of the family, I let that happen. And it's the few times that I do that is whenever I screw something up, right?
Yep.
So even setting boundaries there.
It's always the deal that you do the most for. Bend over backwards, break all your rules, just do anything and everything for it. That's the one person that always burns you. They give you the
Yes.
bad review. They feel like you didn't give them a good deal. It never fails. It never fails. But whenever you give yourself value, you make those boundaries. You cut your time off at a certain time. You let them know that that you're gonna, hey, I'm off today. I'm off tomorrow. Hey, I'll take a, whenever you start saying those things to them, that's when they start being more appreciative towards what you do for a living.
Definitely. And I'm sorry that I interrupt you. I feel like, definitely as a newer agent, that is something super hard to accomplish and to set like those boundaries. Like me personally, I love to help and I love to always be there for my clients. So it was definitely a challenge to kind of set those boundaries and say, hey, like I have kids, I have my husband, like I need to, specifically set time apart for them.
Mhm.
We're talking about productivity and how you want to be productive in certain aspects of your career and life really in general. I think when you're first starting in real estate, I think both Nate and I would burn the midnight oil for sure, and we worked endlessly.
Yeah.
I mean, late at night, early mornings, and we didn't give up while we were building that. What we've noticed is as new realtors come in, they're getting pulled in a million different directions. They feel that they're being productive and they're accomplishing zero things.
Yeah.
Huge difference than the path that me and Nate were on, or Nate and I were on, as far as we had a goal, we set it, and we worked at it every day. And that's what we talk about, the importance of goal setting, the importance of being productive in your marketing plan, the importance of setting up the process. I mean, even our line, 4-for-4 system where you're hitting those points and you're trying to work your way to some time. You have to have those goals in front of you so you know when to take off, so you know when you're productive, to know if it's the right time for you, and really put that work in. It all comes down to productivity and what you're doing when you're clocked in, quote unquote.
What's funny is that, because he was talking about networking events, and you're talking about people that just, always working but never really accomplish anything. I remember I met this one kid, man. I forget his name, but he joined. First thing he did was go to EXP, and he was not going to do anything but commercial properties. I don't know if you remember this guy. And I remember he was at every single event that would come up in Houston. I mean, like, and I remember I was following him on Instagram, and it was like, 3 or 4 events a day, just all kinds of events, just nonstop, 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 nonstop. He did such a good job of being known. Everybody knows who this guy is. Everybody sees him. Everybody sees what he's doing, right? And I remember, running into him because, when I met him at one of the events, right, he came up and started talking because he's really sociable, really good at talking. And he had been in the business, I think he was said 2-3 months at that time. So the next time I saw him, I had seen him several times, but I think the last time that I saw him, he had already been almost a year into the business. And I said, "Hey, what's going on, man?" I said, "Hey, have you finally made your first sale?" And he said, "Nah, man." He goes, "I've come close. I've contracted 2, but they fell out." And I said, "Okay, so what are you doing?" "No, but I got some other stuff working." And this guy had gone a whole year without closing a deal because he would not take anything but commercial. That's all he wanted to do. And then he was a young kid. And so the thing is that in his, he didn't say it with he wasn't downhearted about it. He was excited and felt like, "Oh, no, not yet. It's coming. It's coming. The big payoff is coming." And he was excited and happy just doing what he was doing. Everybody know who he is, running around, socializing, and it just didn't translate to a living. I don't know what his dad did. I don't know what his parents did or where he lived or what else. Maybe I don't think he had another job because he would be at events in the middle of the day. So I don't know. I mean,
I think that goes back to what we're talking about, right? Like we're completely opposite. All he was doing was quote unquote networking, and I was doing the complete opposite. I was doing was quote unquote working with my clients, right? And I think you need to have a balance, especially in this business. Like I was saying, right? If all you do is network and you can't provide value, especially if you haven't dealt with clients.
Oh yeah, definitely.
What value you're providing to your person in your network. The only value you're providing to them is that they like to party with you, right? That's the only thing you can provide. But if you're actually out there in the field working as well, not just building your network, and you can provide value because you're showing what the fruits of your labor, then your network you'll become useful to your network, and you won't be used by your network.
Yep.
And I think that's in this business, you need a balance of both.
Yeah. I guess when you started in real estate, did you guys, I've never thought about it, right? But did you guys think about joining a real estate group or team?
No.
You?
No.
No? Did you ever? I mean, no, you didn't.
Floyd almost did. I just had to ring her in though.
I interviewed with different companies,
Yeah.
but I did not interview with like a group or anything like
So-
that in specific.
So you see what a lot of people don't understand, right? Because I think I said this before, right? When I got into real estate, I thought, hey, let me join Remax. Let me join, I think at the time it was called Century 21 was huge. And I was like, let me join these big companies because they're so big and I'm going to get so much experience. I'm going to make so much money. And it's because I didn't understand the structures of the real estate companies at that time, right? And I'm so happy that they didn't hire me, right? But, what people don't understand is that, I've had people say, "Oh no, well, you're a small boutique and I work for a Fortune 500 or I work for a big, real estate company or whatever." And I tell them, I say, "Hey, you want to know something?" I said, if you go work for Keller Williams, if you go work for Remax, right? Remax, Keller Williams, they're the broker, they have a broker, sometimes they have a broker in house, not all the time. Sometimes they have a broker in house, right? But that broker is really not carrying that company, the franchise is, right? So what ends up happening is that within that company are teams, are
Yes.
groups, are people. And so they end up doing the same thing we're doing. They end up breaking themselves down to a team that runs like a boutique real estate company, and they're like, "Oh, well, but I have all this training and all this stuff." I said, "Okay, what is that training? What has it done for you?" I'll put them up against some of my agents, that have had hands-on training, and they're like, oh no, but it's because I'm trying to get I think Keller Williams had like some kind of I don't even know what it was. I haven't really shopped Keller Williams in a long time because they're no longer my competition, but they were giving them like money, like from the downstream, whatever you call that stuff, shared. I don't know what it was, but they took it away from all the realtors that quit. And
I was
joined other
just about to
brokerage.
bring that up. I
Yeah.
have it here. So
What is it called?
the
What is it called?
headline is actually Keller Williams retreats on profit sharing cuts for defecting agents.
Defecting realtors. Yeah. So
I was just about to bring it up.
and that's what I tell everybody. I said, let me ask you a question. I said, I had a friend of mine that used to work for the city of Houston, and he had a pension, and they fired him because he had he had his pension, and they were, they fired him for some crazy stuff, And I was thinking, they're always trying to fire you, get rid of you, so that they won't have to pay you your whole pension. What makes you think that a real estate company wants to keep paying you for the rest of your life? You're over here freaking building up this pipeline or whatever you're doing with them. I said, come on, man, this is crazy. But once again, unfortunately, these poor realtors that are under these teams, they get used, and there's always internal battles, with them. And I always wonder, like, because ourselves, right, we're always big on like, hey, we don't want you to brand your own, personal logo, right? Like, we don't want you, you can have your little initial or your little whatever you want, right? That's not a problem. But to go brand a whole new company under our company, that's kind of counterproductive to us. We're trying to grow as a whole. We want everybody to be part of this brokerage, right? And I always think, I'm like, man, why do these I mean, are these franchise brokerages that big that they're willing to do that? But then you see the shame that they come under with all these lawsuits and stuff, and you see their realtor teams, and their realtor teams have like all these stupid names, and stupid logos, and you're like, who does this person work for? And then you finally look, and it's always Keller Williams, and you're like, they don't want anybody to know that it's a Keller Williams agent selling their house. They're fine with being branded and being, especially if they're going to hire, some, kid out of school and make them a mentor in 2 years. They don't want them running around out there saying they're Keller Williams.
Yeah.
They want them to go out there and say, hey, I'm XYZ team,
But I think a lot of times, like for newer agents, especially like younger agents, a big, name or of a big company always is going to be, catchier for them because they think that, because the company is bigger, is going to have like all of these resources available for them, like 24/7, that if they pick up a phone, like somebody is going to be there to answer whatever questions they might have, which is, it doesn't work like that.
It doesn't.
And the funny thing for me, right, whenever it comes down to choosing a team or a brokerage is whenever, and I feel like this only happens in our industry. And to me, it's crazy, right? You have doctors before they can actually be a doctor at a hospital, they got to do what? A residency, for at least 2 to 4 or 6, whatever it may be, right? Depends on what their craft is, right? You get a new realtor who comes into this industry. They want to go to Keller Williams because right away, they let me brand my own logo or my own team. What team? What logo? What brand? Like, what are you going to put out there? You don't know what you're doing yet. And we just had this conversation with somebody not too long ago where it's like, it's going to take longer than 3 months for you to be able to do something on your own in this business.
Yeah.
Especially if you've never been in sales. You don't know anything about sales. It's going to take longer than 3 months. Sometimes it takes longer than 2 years, depending on your your capabilities and how quick you learn and how quick you're or how open you are to being moldable. I mean, for me, it was like 4 years.
Yeah, 7. No?
Hey, take it easy. I'm not even at 7 yet, bro. Relax.
Just got moldable. That's
Me and Austin.
Yeah.
One in New York, yeah. I think everybody should go. Yeah.
Wow.
Float had breakfast at Tiffany's and said, "Bro, I want a Tiffany bracelet." She said, "So I'm gonna come
Well,
back."
say,
and
you know
get it."
what? Talking to real.
Yeah.
Is your favorite Houston podcast. If you're looking for anything real estate related information wise, especially for you realtors out there who are looking to gain a little bit more information, especially if you're not here in the Houston market, this is the podcast for you to tune in. We are going to be live every Wednesday, correct? We're going to stick to that every Wednesday at 7 p.m. We're only talking about real estate on this podcast. So if you're a local realtor and want to join, feel free to reach out to us. We put our information down in the description below. And now we can go ahead and exit.
Well, also I invite you know, I disagree with a lot of things that I say, and I always say the same thing. I have an open mic for you any day to come here and discuss your views. I'm willing to respectfully discuss, you know, your opinion differs from mine, right? You know, we're on the same industry, so there's, you know, there's really no reason for anybody to come here and get upset or whatever. I don't think there's unprofessional people like that, right? But at any rate, also into the fact that next month we're gonna drop some videos for He Is HTX, and it's gonna be on Lionsgate Realty's YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe.
What is He Is?
So He Is HTX is it's for you know, men's mental health awareness, and it's just going to be interviews of local professionals, right? That just kind of give their experience as, you know, to, you know, sometimes some people want to talk about some traumas that they've had. Some people want to talk about, you know, some, you know, adversity that they've faced, and have you know, how it's changed them or how they are now, or how a lot of times it's really people that didn't understand that they had traumas until they became adults, when they became fathers, or they became you know, business owners. And so I just wanted to capture a story from everybody, you know, just telling their story. And
What do you think that is important, you know, for them to
I think
show? Like, do you think like there is something that, you know, might feel will make them feel like, you know, weak?
so. The thing is this, okay? I really did not want to turn this into like a you know, Hispanic thing, or you know, a national, you know, like, you know, because we're you know, our nationality, or because whatever, right? What I wanted to do is just, you know, get with men that are successful in business and successful in what they do, and kind of let them talk about their story and be vulnerable, you know. And the reason is because you know, usually men in those positions, they're not allowed to be vulnerable, you know. And so this is just something just to bring awareness to that, and show you that, hey, he might be a jerk, but you know, it's for a reason, you know. And so another thing
What are
too,
your thoughts on that, Flood?
yeah, well, uh, that's actually
Men get groomed too.
that is
Yeah.
actually
Uh,
you know, you know, damn, you hit it the nail on the head. You're groomed. You hear it from your mom, you hear it from your grandparents, you hear it from your, you know,
Everyone.
no llores, you know, the men don't cry, you know. And now my littlest daughter, man, she is freaking hardcore, you know. She's like, you know, like pretty much like, you know. And so you know, even the women in our team, you know, we were talking about doing this, and I think Flor, you know, made fun of us.
I
Who
never
else?
heard her laugh so hard in my life.
Dude, she made fun of us.
We're gonna come in here
She
with
said-
fake mustaches.
Yeah,
are.
and you know, also you know,
She said
Itzia.
we are. She still didn't
Yeah,
back down.
she didn't back down. She said, "Yeah, we are." Hey, but what if Flor said? I said, she said that only Mexican women make what? You said only Mexican women make real men.
See,
That's what she said. She said, "Son los que hacen los hombres." That's what she said. I'm like,
can't you say that on
oh,
air,
my
bro.
bad.
Can't
Sorry.
say that on
sorry,
air.
sorry. Anyways, go ahead. Sorry. So we're gonna let the bully of the office bully go ahead and
Exit out.
exit out. Go ahead, Flor.
do you want to know my opinion about
Yes,
kids?
go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I think, well, honestly, I think it is, you know, a really good opportunity, like for men to kind of like air out their feelings, because especially if you're a man in a Hispanic or Mexican household, I feel like you have to hold it in and, you know, be the man of the house. Like, there's not a lot of room for guys like to express really how they feel. And I live this, with my dad, my brothers. Like, it's just so hard. Like, they have to hold it in. So I think it's actually, really good idea what you're doing
Mhm.
to open this space. But at the same time, if you are a woman that, like, let's say a Mexican woman that is looking at this, you're like, dude, like, just you're not being a man. Like, you're supposed to man up and, confront everything.
Yeah.
Flor said,
if you're a woman and you got something to say about it, come see me.
Yeah.
no, Flor said, cry on he is, not in my house.
Yes.
Hey,
Clearly.
hey, but you know what? We talked about this and we said, hey, you know what? Because I want to do a podcast next month with just men, right? And talking about this subject, right? And I said, you know what? I said, let's do a podcast with just women talking about how they feel about this. Because, and I'm glad that Flor is being honest, because, that's the reality. That's how a lot of women feel. And you know what? I'm fine with it. But at the same time, man, there's some guys out there with some deep pain, and I think that this is a good outlet, But
I will say some of y'all should keep it to yourself.
yeah, some people
keep it to
should
yourself, yeah.
keep it to themselves. But go ahead. Sorry.
I don't like the hand gesture you did when you said deep pain.
Deep pain. Yeah, no, not that. Oh my God. Deep pain. Look,
All right, this is going left. This is the real estate podcast.
Look.
bro.
All I'm
Going
asking
left.
for, if I can accomplish one thing with He Is HTX, is that either we have equal pay for men on OnlyFans, or we just get rid of OnlyFans altogether.
How do you know that it's
Wait,
not
hold
equal
on.
pay?
What?
I mean,
Hold on, what?
I don't know.
Wait, who's complaining about that?
Giovanni said, "Who's complaining, man? Don't cut off OnlyFans." No, go ahead. Go ahead. Exit out. We're trying to exit out.
This is wild.
Once
yeah.
again.
And I'm
Second
Victor
time.
with Lionsgate Realty. Thanks for having me, Giovanni. Ready to go.
we'll see you next Wednesday.
Alrighty, guys. Until next time.